Well, hello there, health coaches. Thank you for joining me. This episode is not live like our usual episodes. This episode is pre recorded. And as you listen, I will be somewhere in Italy with my children. So we wanted to preload the podcast queue for you. And today we're talking about how some coaches in our community have been growing their practice over the last about 12 weeks, so 90 days. These coaches all participated in our fast track program. So I'm interested to hear about all of the successes they've had and perhaps the challenges. If you are interested in joining our next fast track opportunity, you can get yourself on the waitlist at healthcoachpower.com/waitlist. So joining me today, we have Callie, Rachel, and Connie. I'd love to hear from each of you. We can just kind of go around the circle and hear where were you at about 90 days ago when you said, yes, I'm going to join Fast Track? Like, what was your biggest motivator and where were you at with your business back then? Callie, maybe you can kick us off.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle. Thanks for having me on. I was just knowing I needed an extra boost of that hand holding and confidence myself. I know coaching can be so powerful in other people's lives to create change, and I really wanted to put my own money in back into this entity that I so know and appreciate and love and I want to share with other people. Was like, okay, it is time for me to actually do the thing and get coached myself, even for my own coaching practice. So, yeah, that's where I started out and was really grateful.
And how far along were you in your business at that point? Like clients, mailing lists, were you doing this stuff? Were you just starting?
Yeah, I had no mailing list. I didn't have an email marketing scenario set up for myself. I had just graduated from the school I went to in December and was like starting to see a few practice clients, but was like, okay, kind of just looking for that first step to take.
Okay, perfect. Great. I mean, we have coaches coming in from all, experience levels. So you were more on the early end of things. What about you, Rachel? Where were you 90 days ago?
I was really frustrated and confused with like the marketing side of business. Like I didn't go to school to be a business owner. So like that side of it, I felt like every time I went to do something, I had to like teach myself. And when I came across your course, I was like, this is like literally what I've been looking for. And I felt like was missing like in my business. I had already had an email list, but it wasn't very long. I don't know specifics as far as how many I've grown over the last 90, but I've definitely have added more. And I've just gotten so much more consistent with my email marketing and like just more confident in like what I'm sending out. I like kind of played around with like a few different formats of how I wanted to do it. And I was overwhelming myself. And I think I was probably overwhelming like my list anyway. So when I found your like helpful email templates, they were exactly what I needed to kind of like get my point across without like stressing out my clients with too much information. Um, so yeah, that was kind of where I was at. I was just missing that like marketing piece or the confidence to know that I was doing the right things. Like I just didn't know. I felt like I was like throwing darts like at like, a board and like I was never hitting the bullseye. I wasn't even close. So
So when you said I knew this was exactly what I needed in my business, you knew you needed marketing help. I mean, gosh, every health coach needs marketing help, right? That's like the biggest
yes.
stumbling block. Had you looked for other options? There's lots of different like coaches and courses and business things out there. I'm just curious why this one spoke to you.
So yeah, I definitely had like looked into other ones, but what I really appealed to me was that it was like specifically for like health and nutrition coaches because I've had coaches before, but they weren't like specific to that type of coaching. They were just like in general. And I felt like it's just a different thing. I don't like it, like as opposed to like, I don't know, whatever else you can do as a coach or so many coaches out there. So that was really the appeal for me that it was specific to like my expertise and like I could tweak everything to like my own niche, which is moms. And like it was it was just simple. I have 4 kids and a lot going on. I needed like simple, direct, this is what you need to do. And that was it. And it like just and like the fact that it was geared towards like what I coach was really helpful.
Got it. Thank you for sharing. And Connie, we'll come to you. Jump us back 90 days. What made you take the leap? Where were you at?
Oh, I was in a similar boat as Callie. I had just recently graduated from my program and I was dabbling around a little bit, posting something on Facebook and trying to get something started on Instagram. And my husband was in my ear, I should do this and I should do that. And I tried to do a few different things. I had no mailing list at all when I found this program. I attended one of those free events you were hosting at the time, and it was kind of an eye opener for me on which direction I needed to go in order to be successful. So it was almost a no-brainer to get in the program on the fast track program.
Awesome. All right. Well, you've mentioned, all three of you mentioned a lot of mailing list stuff, but another thing we do inside the program, and PS, all health coaches need to be doing, like regardless of if you're in a program or not, is we need to make offers. Like we can't sign clients into a private coaching package, an online course, a mini program, anything, if we don't ask them. And that seems to be a big hurdle for a lot of coaches because we don't like asking for money and we don't like asking because what if they say no, right? So I'm just curious, you've now, you've offered private coaching, you've offered a 5-day mini program. We'll just go around in the same order. Like, tell us about that, Callie. Like, what was it like for you to say, hey, do you want this thing? Do you want to buy this thing? Apply for this coaching?
Yeah. I loved what Rachel was saying about like things actually making a lot of sense in the flow of how fast tracks worked. We started out by nurturing our audience and building and offering something free to attend so that we're really starting out with that generosity first, and we're able to build that reciprocal relationship with our potential clients, our audience. So that felt really good to be able to start from a place of giving and building just a genuine connection with folks and showing just a bit of how I show up to this space and what I can offer as well. So that felt really great. And then also having this like proven template of how to do sales calls and go through that process through Fast Track was so helpful as well.
Awesome. Yes, the whole sales call recipe, as we call
Mhm.
it. Have you put it to good use?
Yes, I have.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Rachel, what about you? What is it like for you to make offers? Is it easy before or is it difficult before? And how is it now?
Um, I don't know. It was never like super easy. I mean, like the way it's worded in the emails that we've had templates for, that made it a lot easier. Um, I had been like offering my services previously, but I think that, like I said before, like with it, my other coaches not being like nutrition or like health coach specific, they were just sort of like, I don't know, I just feel like I wasn't getting the right advice. Where I feel like here, like the way to word your offer and the way to like approach it made a lot more sense to me. Yeah, and like having like the sales script, like that's really awesome, especially again, very geared towards like health, nutrition, all of those things. Um, so yeah, it is. It's scary though to like put yourself out there, and like the asking for money part is like the hard part for me. I'm always just like, I would just do this for free, but we need to eat, so sorry.
Yeah. So with that, had you ever run like a mini program before? Because since we do both, you have the opportunity to ask for a larger amount of money and also a smaller amount of money. Did that feel like a relief and like a much easier way to go?
Yeah, so yeah, and I was sort of like before I even like signed up for, your fast track course, I was sort of like approaching that idea of like how do I create this like almost like lower priced intro course into my like one-to-one coaching, or like I also have a course, like how can I navigate them into something else? So like that was like a perfect fit because I was literally just like, how am I going to put this together? And then I somehow found you, and like you had all the things, and that was one of them because I did want that like lower price point. especially working with moms. I feel like moms are always the last one to like invest in themselves. So I wanted something that I could be like, this is pretty affordable. Like, why don't we start here? And then we could navigate and see what else we could do. So yeah, that was fun to do. And I liked the 5 day approach to it because I felt like you really got to know your people a little bit more and they got to know you a little bit more as opposed to just like a one-off like workshop or something.
Yeah, well, maybe you can just say a little bit more about what it was like for you to run that 5 day program. I mean, obviously, you make some amount of money from the people that sign up, but what other benefits were there for you?
It was really just like I guess I have previously run like worked like things in a Facebook group, but like never by myself. So like it was a confident boosting for me to like have a lot of the information that you gave. And then just like how you had us like preload all the things. Like all of my posts were like scheduled out, like a couple of months ago. So like when the actual thing came around, I wasn't like stressing out, so like it was just simple. Like it would, the email would go out, the Facebook thing would pop up, and then I would just make sure to get in there and just, interact with all the people in there, answer their questions. I didn't have too many people in there, so I would also like private message them and just make sure that they were like okay as well. But yeah, it just made it like it broke it down so nice for me. It like decluttered my brain to like figure it out just to have that format.
Oh, I love it. What I basically wanted to give you guys is what my project manager does for me, where I have ideas, right? We always want to
Mhm.
do all the things, but then in executing it, sometimes you're just tripping over your own feet. And then it's the day of, and you're like, oh, wait, I never did that. And I never posted that. And I never sent that email. So we
Mhm.
really backed out the whole schedule of like, when do you do this? When do you do that? So that it all comes together like the puzzle pieces all fit at the end. I'm really glad you were
Mhm.
able to experience that. That's how you want to work, right? You don't want to be stressed out doing your health coaching. It's like being
Exactly. Yeah,
stressed out going to
exactly.
yoga class.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely took a lot of the stress off of it. So,
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. And Connie, what about you? How is it for you making offers in these various ways?
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable just because I followed the process that was laid out in the program. I've never had to make offers in my previous employment, so this is a whole new concept to me. But it felt like all the emails, the nurture emails, and that just all kind of led the potential client down a logical path where they would expect an offer at the end. So it felt really comfortable to do that at that point. So.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it, right? We never want to feel like the used salesman kind of sales. We always want to feel like we're coming from a place of service because we are. And Connie, how did it go with running your 5 day program?
Well, it went. I thought it went really well. So I had a small group there, and it was great again because everything was laid out and pre-prepared, and all the posts were already scheduled. So I just had to show up on the days to interact with the well participants. So it made it really really comfortable.
That's fantastic. And it's a short program, right? When you do a 5 day thing, like I know even health coaches will kind of say, what can you possibly expect to do in 5 days? No one's going to see any improvements in 5 days. So did those who were participating with you see some improvements over
They
that short period of time?
they had some improvements in the digestion, and one of them was less stress. But the other thing too is that it just builds a relationship that know, like, and trust factor that you speak of so often is something that you can just really build up, and when you have a small group like that.
That's perfect. And I thank you for sharing that too. I mean, some of our coaches come in and maybe have a bigger mailing list already, or maybe some other like big audience. And, sometimes people run their first program and they got 20 people in it and, they're adding, bigger numbers. But we all start somewhere. And so if you're starting with just a couple people attending your events, a couple people signing up for your programs, like that's exactly appropriate. We are not going to make 6 figures in the first year of health coaching. Like that is a ridiculous statement for anyone to make. But we can build up that income. It's logical. It's going to build over time. So congratulations for taking those first steps. And we always talk about like that health coach high. I've really noticed with all of you, with this group, that sometimes when motivation can wane, because like, Rachel, you said, like, we didn't want to become business people or marketers. Like, that's not why we get into this. And sometimes motivation starts to drop when we have to do the emails and we have to do the advertising. But you work with one person who gives even one positive bit of feedback, it gets one great result, and suddenly it's like, oh, I know why I'm here. I know why I'm doing this work. So I saw this like lift in energy from all of you. So anyway, thank you for sharing. I apologize if you can hear some banging in the background, by the way. There's some work getting done on my house, and gosh, they just don't take a break when I want them to. Anyway, as we wrap up, I have a question for you. Now that you have gone through Fast Track and you've seen, all of we had so many participants, all of our other coaches go through, what do you think it takes to succeed? Not only in Fast Track specifically, but like as a health coach, if you could just name one thing that you've noticed is really important for success. Callie's giving me a look like, don't ask me first.
I think it would have to be perseverance.
Say more.
I just think that, as you just said, nobody's going to make six figures in the first year. So you have to have some faith into the process, just like our clients would have faith that we have a process. You have to have some faith in the process that it's going to build over time. And it takes perseverance for that. So just keep doing the things that need to be done and just moving one step at a time, one day after the next, and get to the point that you want to go to.
Yeah, that's a great point, because whenever health coaches are like, but I only had this many people, or I only had this many in my mailing list, or I only made this amount of money. It's like a client who's like, but I only lost half a pound, or whatever result did not materialize as quickly as they sort of dreamed that it might. But we all know it's small, consistent efforts over time. It is the exact same thing. So we need that perseverance. Rachel?
So I totally agree with Connie. I feel like the same thing, just like, and like what you were just saying, those small changes. And it is funny when I talk to clients, there's so many things that align with like what I say to them about like their health and their nutrition that also could totally align with like me and like my business that I, like very similar, but obviously two different situations. But I also think it's like relationships, just building those relationships and like just getting people to like know, like, and trust you. Because like I know like I'm somebody that typically like maybe I like follow you for a while and then like I will eventually work with you, but like I don't usually like just meet you and like immediately work with you. So like, maybe there's people on my mailing list that like aren't interested right now, it's just not the right time, but like later on. So just like continuing that relationship, even if like I've offered them something and they didn't take it, right? Like it's okay, and I think that that's taken me a while to embrace that is okay, that we are building a relationship and eventually they'll want to work with me or eventually they won't, or maybe they'll recommend me to somebody else, right? Like, so it's not always about that person necessarily. It's just about like, kind of just like spreading the word of like what I do and what I want to do with moms and just hoping that relationships form and just nurturing them, which is why I really love like the emails and all of that. It makes it so much easier to know how to do it.
All right. Well, so far we have a really good business plan going. We're going to persevere through all those little steps along the way. We're going to build relationships along the way. This is ideal. Callie, what's the other thing that we have to do?
And I feel like there's just this invitation for like more generosity, more showing up with who you authentically are, to continue this whole thing that we love, health coaching. It's the more that people, again, like Rachel and Connie have said, it's showing up in small ways and just being there for your people in authenticity.
I love it. Well, you guys have done an amazing job. I want to thank you for being part of this Fast Track group. And of course, we're going to keep seeing you around. Is any of you going to take the 12-week marketing plan and like repeat it? What's your next step?
I plan to repeat it later in the fall. I think right now I signed up for another program, and so I'm going to focus on that for the next 2 to 3 months, and then in the fall repeat the 12-week.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Like that you have this system now, this like module that you can just plug into your year, and you can just go through it again. And it's going to work again. It's only going to keep working better as you get more used to it and your list grows, your audience grows. So I'm excited to hear how that goes for you. What about for the two of you, Callie and Rachel, what are you planning for the next half of this year?
Yeah, to show up with more confidence and make offers, continue to make offers, building this momentum on, yeah, we are health coaches and this is worth investing in to be able to make these long-term sustainable shifts for our clients and with our clients.
Yeah, I also definitely plan to like reutilize like the materials, but I also did sign up for like your email course too. I have no idea. I can't remember what it's called, but I signed up for it. So I'm excited to like dive into those materials and like also utilize those and just like get better at writing like copy, like just like, so then I could eventually just write my own emails, and be like as direct and clear as the ones that you've given us are. But yeah, I definitely want to use that again because like you said, like it's going to be better the next time. And like I already have a lot of it done, so it'll be easier too. But yeah, probably not till the fall.
That's perfect. Yes, reuse, reuse, reuse. Life is so much easier when we can do that. So for all of our listeners, if you're interested in joining us for our next fast track opportunity, the waitlist is open. You can go to healthcoachpower.com/waitlist and you'll be the first to know when you can get in, because you're going to get your hands on the same materials, the same emails that Rachel's been mentioning, the same program that all three of these women have run for you to make the offers to actually start earning. And, that is the name of the game. And yeah, you're not going to make 6 figures in the first year. I think that's okay. I don't think any of us got into this because like we had to become a millionaire overnight. But if we want to serve, what we always say, money is just the measure of your impact. Because when you're earning, that means you're working with somebody. And when someone's paying you, that means they got skin in the game and they're doing the things, which means they're changing the world. So thank you so much for joining me today, you three. I really appreciate you. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.